The rope burns on my wrists had stopped bleeding, but they still stung as the guards shoved me through the tree line. My former pack's territory disappeared behind us. With it went any foolish hope that Marcus might change his mind. "Keep moving," one guard growled. He barely looked at me during the entire journey, like I was already dead. Maybe I was. The Shadow Moon Pack's reputation preceded them into nightmares. Stories of wolves who killed first and never asked questions. Their Alpha collected the bones of his enemies, wore them as jewelry. I dismissed most of it as fear-mongering. Now, stumbling through dark forests toward their territory, those stories felt real. My legs shook with exhaustion. I forced myself to keep walking. At least this way, I'd die on my feet instead of crawling. The scent hit me first, wild and dangerous, like a storm rolling in. Then came the low growl that made my arm hair stand up. The guards stopped so suddenly I nearly crashed into one of them. "State your business." The voice came from shadows between trees, rough and commanding. "We bring tribute from the Crescent Ridge Pack," the lead guard called out. His voice cracked slightly. "As agreed in the treaty." A figure stepped into moonlight. My breath caught. The man was massive, easily 6.5 feet tall, with broad shoulders that strained against a dark shirt. His black hair was disheveled, like he'd been running. His eyes glowed amber in the darkness, fixed directly on me. This had to be Alpha Kael. He looked me over slowly, taking in my torn dress, my bound hands, the bruise on my cheek that Marcus had given me as a parting gift. His jaw tightened with each detail. "Tribute," he repeated. The word dripped with disgust. "You mean prisoner. She's been given freely by Alpha Marcus." "I didn't ask you." Kael's voice dropped to a dangerous level, made the guards step back. "I asked her." He moved closer. I caught his scent, pine and something wild that made my wolf stir for the first time in weeks. She'd been so quiet since Marcus rejected me. I'd wondered if she was broken. But now she was alert, interested. "What's your name?" Kael asked. "Lyra." My voice came out steadier than expected. "And did you come here freely, Lyra?" The question hung in the air between us. I could lie. Make this easier for everyone. Pretend I'd chosen this fate instead of having it forced on me. "No," I whispered. His eyes flashed. When he turned back to the guards, I saw fury there. It made me step back. "Take your tribute and go home." Alpha Kael, the treaty. The treaty says nothing about accepting unwilling prisoners as gifts. He moved between me and the guards, his presence suddenly protective instead of threatening. "Tell Marcus if he wants to discuss terms, he can come himself, instead of sending innocent women to do his dirty work." The lead guard's face went pale. "He won't like this." "I don't care what he likes." Kael reached behind me. I felt the ropes around my wrists fall away. My hands tingled as blood flow returned. "Now get off my land before I decide you've overstayed your welcome." The guards didn't need to be told twice. They disappeared into forest, leaving me alone with the most dangerous alpha in 3 territories. I rubbed my wrists, not sure what to do. Was I supposed to leave too? Where would I go? "You're hurt," Kael said, his voice gentler now. "I'm fine." He raised an eyebrow at the obvious lie. "When's the last time you ate?" I tried to remember. The guards hadn't fed me during the journey. Before that, "Yesterday morning, I think." His expression darkened. "Come on." "Where?" "My pack house. You need food and medical attention." I didn't move. "Why are you helping me?" He studied my face for a long moment. Because someone should have helped you before it got this far. He started walking deeper into his territory, then paused when I didn't follow. I'm not going to hurt you, Lyra, but I'm also not leaving you out here alone. Something in his tone convinced me. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was the way my wolf had perked up around him. But I found myself following the dangerous Alpha through dark forest. The Shadow Moon Pack house wasn't what I'd expected. Instead of some gothic nightmare, it was a large, comfortable-looking lodge. Warm light spilled from the windows. Wolves moved around outside, pausing to nod respectfully at Kael as we passed. A few gave me curious looks, but no one seemed hostile. Beta Marcus. Kael called to a sandy-haired man sitting on the porch. We need the first aid kit. Everything all right? The Beta's eyes went to me, took in my appearance with a frown. Nothing that can't be fixed. Kael guided me up the steps with a gentle hand on my back. And maybe ask someone to heat up some of that stew from dinner. Inside, the pack house felt warm and lived in. Comfortable couches. Bookshelves. Pictures on the walls of pack members smiling together. Nothing like the cold, formal atmosphere of Marcus's house. Kael led me to the kitchen and gestured for me to sit at the large wooden table. Let me see your wrists. I hesitated, then held out my hands. His fingers were careful as he examined the rope burns. His touch surprisingly gentle for someone so large. These aren't too deep. They'll heal clean. He looked up at me. Anything else hurt? Just my heart. Just my pride. Just everything. No. He didn't believe me, but he didn't push. Beta Marcus appeared with the first aid kit and a bowl of something that smelled amazing. I'll take care of this, Kael told him. Can you make sure the guest room is ready? Already done. The Beta gave me a kind smile. Welcome to Shadow Moon, Lyra. After he left, Kael cleaned and bandaged my wrists with the same gentle efficiency. His hands were warm. Every time his skin brushed mine, I felt a little jolt of something I couldn't name. Better, he asked. Thank you. I meant it. You didn't have to do this. Yeah, I did. He pushed the bowl of stew toward me. Eat. The food was incredible. Rich and hearty and exactly what my body needed. I tried to eat slowly, but I was hungrier than I'd realized. Kael watched me with those intense amber eyes. I wondered what he was thinking. Why did he really send you? He asked quietly. I nearly choked on my spoon. What? Marcus, men like him don't give up their possessions easily, even ones they claim not to want. His voice was matter-of-fact, but there was steel underneath. So why did he send you here? I stared down at the stew, my appetite suddenly gone. The truth sat heavy in my chest, dangerous and impossible to share. If Kael knew what I could do, would he see me as a threat too? He rejected me. I said instead, found someone better. That's what happened, not why. Kael leaned back in his chair. You don't have to tell me now, but eventually I'm going to need to know what I'm protecting you from. You're not protecting me. You said I could go. When? He tilted his head. I never said you could go. But you refused the tribute. You sent the guards away. I refused to accept you as a gift. That's different than letting you walk out of here with nowhere to go and no way to protect yourself. His voice softened. You're safe here, Lyra, for as long as you need. The kindness in his tone made my throat tight. When was the last time someone had offered me safety without asking for something in return? I don't understand why you care. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. Or sadness. Because you deserve better than being treated like a bargaining chip. I finished the stew in silence, hyper-aware of his presence across the table. He was nothing like what I'd expected. Dangerous, yes, but not cruel. Protective instead of possessive. And the way he looked at me. "Come on," he said when I was done. "Let's get you settled for the night." He led me upstairs to a cozy bedroom with a large window overlooking the forest. The bed looked impossibly comfortable after weeks of sleeping on the floor of Marcus's basement. "Bathrooms through there," Kael pointed to a door on the far wall. "There should be clothes in the closet that fit. Most of the women in the pack are about your size." "Thank you," I said again, feeling inadequate, "for everything." He paused in the doorway, his hand on the frame. "Lyra, whatever you're running from, whatever secret you think you need to keep, it's not going to change anything. You're under my protection now." After he left, I sank onto the bed and finally let myself feel the full weight of the day. This morning I'd woken up as a prisoner. Now I was... what? A guest? A refugee? I thought about Kael's hands carefully cleaning my wounds, the way he'd positioned himself between me and the guards, the protective edge to his voice when he'd asked about Marcus. My wolf stirred again, interested in a way that scared me. I couldn't let myself hope. Men like Kael, strong, powerful, respected, they didn't want broken girls with dangerous secrets. Eventually, he'd learn the truth about what I could do. Then he'd see me the same way Marcus had, as a threat to be eliminated. But for tonight, in this warm room with soft sheets and no locked doors, I could pretend I was safe. I could pretend someone actually cared what happened to me, even if it wouldn't last. I woke to sunlight streaming through the window and the sound of voices downstairs. For a moment, I couldn't remember where I was. Then it all came flooding back. The guards, the forest, Kael's amber eyes. The clothes in the closet fit perfectly. I found myself wondering about the women who donated them. Did they know they were helping a stranger? Did they care? Downstairs, I found the kitchen bustling with activity. Several pack members were eating breakfast around the large table, their conversation stopping when I appeared. I froze, unsure if I was welcome. "Morning," called a woman with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. "You must be Lyra. I'm Sarah, Kael's sister." His sister? I hadn't expected that. "Unfortunately," she grinned. "Grab a plate, there's plenty." The others made room for me at the table, introducing themselves with easy smiles. No one asked uncomfortable questions or stared at my bandaged wrists. It felt normal, like I actually belonged somewhere. "Where's Kael?" I asked Sarah. "Border Patrol. He'll be back this afternoon." She studied my face. "Everything okay?" "Fine, just wondering." But as the day wore on, I found myself looking for him more often, listening for his voice in the hallway, watching out the window for his return. It was stupid. I barely knew him, but something about his presence made me feel settled in a way I hadn't felt in months. When he finally walked through the front door that evening, covered in dirt and looking exhausted, my heart did a little flip. "How was your day?" he asked, finding me reading in the living room. "Good. Your pack is nice. They like you." He collapsed into the chair across from me, running a hand through his dark hair. "Sarah says you barely left the house, though." Had she been watching me that closely? I wasn't sure if I was allowed. Something pained crossed his face. "Lyra, you're not a prisoner here. You can go anywhere you want on pack lands." "What about off-pack lands?" He was quiet for a moment. "I'd prefer you didn't. Not until we know more about why Marcus really sent you." The truth burned in my throat, but I pushed it down. "And if I never want to tell you, then we'll figure something else out." He leaned forward, his amber eyes serious. "But he will come for you eventually. Men like Marcus don't give up easily." A chill ran down my spine. "What makes you think that?" "Because I've been getting reports all day about Crescent Ridge wolves scouting our borders. They're not being subtle about it." Fear shot through me, sharp, and immediate. He's here? Not yet, but soon. Kael's voice gentled when he saw my expression. Hey, it's okay. He can't touch you here. You don't know him like I do. No, but he doesn't know me like you're starting to. There was steel in his voice, absolute certainty. I meant what I said last night. You're under my protection. That means something here. I wanted to believe him, but fear was already taking root. Marcus wouldn't have sent scouts unless he was planning something. And when he came for me, when he revealed what I really was, "What is it?" Kael asked, reading something in my face. Nothing. Lyra. He moved to the couch beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth. Whatever you're afraid of, we can face it together. Together. The word made my chest tight with longing and terror in equal measure. What if what I'm running from is worse than you think? Then we'll deal with it. His hand found mine, careful of the bandages. I'm not Marcus. I'm not going to throw you away the moment things get complicated. The certainty in his voice broke something loose in my chest. When was the last time someone had looked at me like I was worth protecting? Why? I whispered. Why do you care so much? He was quiet for so long I thought he wasn't going to answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough. Because from the moment I saw you standing in those woods, everything in me said, mine. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. And I protect what's mine. The simple word, mine, sent heat racing through my veins. My wolf perked up, interested and hopeful and terrified all at once. Kael. I know it's fast. I know you're still healing from whatever he did to you. His amber eyes were intense, honest. I'm not asking for anything you can't give, but I need you to know, this isn't charity. This isn't me being nice to a refugee. What is it then? It's me recognizing my mate. The word hit me like a physical blow. Mate. After Marcus had rejected me, I'd thought I'd never hear it again. Never feel the pull of recognition. The sense of coming home. But sitting here with Kael's hand in mine, his scent wrapping around me like safety itself, I felt it. The bond humming to life between us. Tentative but real. I don't know if I can do this again, I whispered. We'll go slow as you need. He squeezed my hand gently. But Lyra, whatever secret you're keeping, whatever you think will change how I see you, it won't. Mates don't give up on each other. If only that were true. But looking into his eyes, I almost believed it. Almost. I spent the next morning helping Sarah in the garden, trying to push down the restless energy that had kept me awake most of the night. Every rustle of leaves made me jump. Every unfamiliar scent made my wolf pace anxiously. You're wound tighter than a spring, Sarah observed, handing me another basket of tomatoes. What has you so spooked? Kael thinks Marcus might be planning something, and you think he's right. It wasn't a question. I set down the basket and rubbed my temples where a headache was building. I know he's right. Marcus doesn't let things go, especially things he thinks belong to him. Sarah was quiet for a moment, her hands steady as she worked. Can I ask you something? I tensed. What? What really happened with your old pack? I mean, I can see the fear in your eyes when you talk about this Marcus guy. That's not just about a rejection. I stared down at the dirt between my fingers. Part of me wanted to tell her, to finally share the truth with someone who might understand. But the other part, the part that remembered Marcus's disgusted face when he discovered what I could do, stayed silent. It's complicated, I said finally. Most things worth talking about are. Sarah straightened, brushing dirt from her knees. But Lyra? Whatever it is, Kael meant what he said. We protect our own here, and you're ours now, whether you realize it or not. Before I could respond, a howl cut through the afternoon air. Long and urgent, a warning. Sarah went rigid. That's the perimeter watch. My blood turned to ice. What does it mean? It means we need to get inside. Now. We were halfway to the house when Kael burst through the back door, his face grim. How many? Sarah asked, all traces of casual conversation gone. 20. Maybe more. His jaw was tight, with barely controlled fury. Marcus brought half his pack. The words hit me like a physical blow. This is my fault. I should have. No. Kael's hands framed my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Whatever's coming, we face it together. Remember? The sound of approaching paws thundered through the forest. Kael's pack was already shifting, already moving to defensive positions. But I could smell the difference in the air. Fear mixed with determination. They were outnumbered. Kael Morrison! Marcus's voice rang out from the tree line, still in human form, still playing the diplomatic alpha. I've come for what belongs to me. Kael's growl vibrated through his chest. Nothing here belongs to you. My former mate seems to disagree. Marcus stepped into view, flanked by wolves twice the size of Kael's border guards. She ran from me. That tends to suggest guilt. She ran from your rejection, you bastard. Marcus laughed, the sound sharp and cold. Is that what she told you? Did she mention why I rejected her? What she really is? My stomach dropped. No, not like this. Lyra? Kael's voice was quiet, meant only for me. What is he talking about? I couldn't answer, couldn't breathe. Marcus was going to destroy everything just like I'd known he would. She's a healer, Marcus called out, his words carrying across the clearing. Not the kind that sets bones and brews tea. The kind that can bring wolves back from the edge of death. The kind that can make a pack unstoppable. I felt Kael stiffen behind me, felt the exact moment understanding hit him. That's why you want her back, Kael said, his voice deadly calm. Not as a mate, as a weapon. She's wasted here. With me, she could help build something greater. An empire. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. The attack came without warning. Marcus shifted mid-sentence, his massive black wolf launching toward us with his pack flowing behind him like a dark tide. Kael shoved me toward the house, but there was no time. They were everywhere. The battle erupted around us in snarls and snapping teeth. Kael's wolves fought with everything they had, but Marcus's pack was bigger, stronger, better fed. I watched from the porch as wolves I'd come to care about were thrown aside like toys. Kael was holding his own against Marcus, his gray wolf matching the black one blow for blow. But I could see the calculation in Marcus's movements. He wasn't trying to win quickly. He was wearing Kael down. A smaller wolf broke away from the main fight, heading straight for me. I recognized him. Marcus's beta. The one who'd always looked at me like I was a problem to be solved. He shifted as he ran, hitting the porch steps in human form. Time to come home, Lyra. I backed against the door, my heart hammering. I am home. No, you're not. He reached for me. An instinct kicked in. My hand shot out to stop him. Power flowed through me before I could control it. He jerked back with a yelp, a burn mark flowering across his palm where I'd touched him. His eyes went wide. Marcus was right. You are a freak. The word hit like a slap, but before I could respond, a gray blur knocked him off the porch. Kael's lieutenant, protecting me even though he was bleeding from a dozen wounds. The beta shifted again, and they rolled away into the chaos. I turned back to find Kael in trouble. Marcus had backup now. 2 other wolves circling while Marcus went for his throat. Kael was fast, but not fast enough to fight 3 at once. I watched Marcus's jaws close around Kael's neck, saw blood spray across the grass. Something inside me snapped. I was moving before I could think, jumping off the porch and running toward them. "Get away from him!" Power exploded out of me like a shockwave. Every wolf within 20 feet stumbled, but I didn't care about them. I had eyes only for Kael, who was lying too still in the blood-soaked dirt. I dropped to my knees beside him. My hands found the torn flesh of his throat. The wounds were deep, too deep. He was dying. "No," I whispered, pouring everything I had into my touch. "You don't get to leave me. Not now." Heat flowed through my palms. Golden light spilled between my fingers. I felt the exact moment his torn arteries began to knit back together. Felt his heart strengthen from a flutter to a steady beat. His eyes opened, amber and confused and alive. The fighting around us had stopped. Everyone, Kael's pack and Marcus's, stood frozen, staring at the light still dancing across my skin. "Impossible," someone breathed. Kael sat up slowly, his hand going to his throat. The skin was smooth, unmarked, except for blood that was no longer his. "Lyra?" I helped him to his feet, keeping myself between him and Marcus, who had shifted back to human form. My former mate's face was slack with greed and hunger. "Now do you see?" Marcus asked Kael. "What she can do? She could make your pack invincible. She could make you a legend." "She could also choose for herself," Kael said quietly. His hand found my shoulder, steady and warm. "It's your call, Lyra. Always your call." I looked around the clearing, at the wolves still staring at me like I was something between miraculous and monstrous. A few months ago, that look would have sent me running. But Kael's pack wasn't backing away in fear. They were moving closer, forming a protective circle. "I choose him," I said, my voice carrying clearly in the sudden quiet. "I choose this pack, this family." Marcus's face twisted with rage. "You're making a mistake. You belong with your own kind." "I am with my own kind." I stepped forward, letting the power show in my eyes, letting him see what he'd thrown away. "You rejected me, remember? Called me broken, useless. I was wrong." "Yes, you were, about everything." The golden light was building again, responding to my emotions. "I'm not a weapon. I'm not a tool. I'm a person, and I choose who I give my gifts to. Lyra, go home, Marcus." Kael's voice cut through whatever desperate plea Marcus was about to make. "She's not yours anymore. She never really was." For a moment, I thought Marcus might fight anyway. His pack was still bigger, still stronger, but they were also injured now, and Kael's wolves were angry. More importantly, they were unified in a way Marcus's pack had never been. "This isn't over," Marcus snarled, but he was already backing toward the tree line. "Yes, it is." I lifted my chin, meeting his eyes without flinching. "Don't come back. There's nothing here for you." He shifted without another word, his pack flowing after him into the forest. Within minutes they were gone, leaving only the scent of blood and defeat behind. I stood there in the sudden quiet. Power still hummed under my skin. I waited for Kael to realize what I was, what having me here would mean for his pack, the dangers that would follow me. Instead, he stepped up behind me, his arms circled my waist. "So," he said against my ear, "a healer. Are you angry I didn't tell you? That you didn't trust me with the truth?" "A little." His hold tightened, not possessive but protective. "That you thought it would change how I feel about you? That makes me furious." I leaned back against his chest, letting his warmth chase away the lingering chill of fear. "Marcus said it made me a freak. Dangerous." "Marcus is an idiot. Kael pressed a kiss to my temple. You saved my life. You're a gift, Lyra. Not a weapon, not a tool, a gift. Around us, his pack was beginning to shift back, to tend their wounds and check on each other. But I noticed something. The way they looked at me had changed. Not with fear, but with something deeper. Respect, acceptance. Sarah approached first, a cut above her eye but otherwise unharmed. That was incredible, she said softly. What you did for Kael, thank you. Others murmured their agreement. A few reached out to touch my arm or shoulder as they passed, gestures of gratitude and acceptance that made my throat tight with emotion. What happens now? I asked Kael. He turned me in his arms, his amber eyes serious. Now you decide what you want, really want. Not as tribute, not as a refugee, not because you're running from something. His hands cupped my face, thumbs brushing across my cheekbones. What do you want, Lyra? The question I'd been afraid to ask myself. The future I'd been too scared to imagine. I want to stay, I whispered. I want to belong somewhere. To someone. You already do. You have since the moment you set foot in my territory. His voice was rough with emotion. But I need you to understand what I'm offering. Not just sanctuary, not just protection. What then? Partnership. A real mate bond if you'll have it. The right to stand beside me, not behind me. To use your gifts as you see fit, to protect this pack that's already yours. His forehead touched mine. I'm asking you to be my Luna, Lyra, not because I need a healer, but because I need you. The word Luna echoed through me, carrying weight and promise and possibility. Luna meant belonging. Luna meant home. I'm still broken, I said. Still scared. Still figuring out who I am without Marcus telling me. Then we'll figure it out together. We have time. I thought about that. Time to heal, really heal. Time to discover what my power could do when it wasn't controlled by fear and shame. Time to learn what it meant to be part of a pack that wanted me for who I was. Not what I could give them. Yes, I breathed, and felt the mate bond snap into place like a key turning in a lock. Complete, right, home. Kael's smile was brilliant, transforming his whole face. Yes, yes to all of it. Yes to staying. Yes to the bond. Yes to being your Luna. I stood on my toes, bringing our mouths closer. Yes to us. He kissed me then, soft and sure and full of promise. Around us, his pack, our pack, erupted in howls of celebration. But all I could focus on was the feeling of finally being exactly where I belonged. When we broke apart, Kael rested his forehead against mine again. The afternoon sun filtered through the trees, casting everything in golden light that seemed to echo the power still warming my veins. Welcome home, Luna, he murmured. And for the first time in my life, the title fit perfectly. Like I've been a member of this story and loved so deeply, would you share it with others who might need to hear it too?